Does it matter what time of year you retire? Like if you retire in December versus January or March versus May, is there a best time to call it quits? Well, yeah, it's actually really important, especially for certain types of workers and for certain people with certain retirement goals. So that's what we're going to go over in today's video. My name is Chris Cebulski. If we haven't met before, thank you for watching. I help people like you retire with dignity, purpose, and your eyes set on the future. So thanks so much for joining us today. Let's look at what you need to be mindful of before you retire. So these points are about optimization. There's no perfect way to retire, but we can certainly optimize how we retire or how we get the most out of when we retire. Now, a big caveat before we hop into this, if you're at your wit's end, you absolutely hate your job, and you just need to call it quits and you have enough to retire, great. There's nothing wrong with just saying peace and getting out of that job. But we're going to look at, hey, what if you have some control? So first, let's look at how you can optimize for taxes when you retire. Now, the simple answer is that we'd want to retire earlier in the year. This is simple, if you're a W-2 person, because say you earn $150,000 and you retire in April. Well, we've earned 50K. We have the rest of the year then that we can manage our tax liability. We can decide to pull money from specific accounts to control our taxes better. But if we wait until the end of the year, there really isn't much that we can do about our tax liability because we've just gotten this paycheck the entire year and that's all taxable, right? So by retiring earlier in the year, you get more control. Another tax benefit of that control is you can employ more strategies. Say you have earned income for the year, so you can still max out your 401k before you retired in April. You could make traditional IRA contributions or Roth IRA contributions because you had earned income, right? But because you retired earlier in the year, you should have a better grasp on your total tax liability and therefore can better handle a Roth conversion, right? This happened with a client this year who retired in January. After all of his deductions and small income from only working for a month, he should have a total taxable income of, get ready for this, under $3,000. So in his brokerage account, he has about 38 grand of unrealized long-term capital gains. He's single, he's over 65, and he won't pay taxes on any capital gain income under about $48,000. So we can harvest the entire 38 grand of long-term capital gains and pay $0 in taxes. It's basically resetting his cost basis for the year. Now that tax optimization is critical. Now, if you retire toward the end of the year, not all is lost, right? You might want to do this to maybe get a little bit more juice in your bank account, or maybe you're just under 65 and you need that health insurance, or maybe you're trying to delay Social Security as long as possible. But remember, Social Security income gets an 8% increase each year if you delay it. That growth doesn't step up each year. It's actually indexed monthly. So every month you delay counts toward that increase. So speaking of monthly versus annual indexing, certain pensions rank your income on an annual basis or calendar basis. They'll say, look at your top 3 or 5 earning years. Sometimes this is, again, a calendar year. Other times it can be measured month to month or based on your hire date or promotion date. Now, if this is the case, understanding when you can retire is very important. So the second optimization isn't financial, it's personal. One of the biggest drivers of retirement success is whether a person has friends, family, and a community. Retiring during a time of year when your friends and family are busy and have little time for you can make the start of your retirement really rough. I have a client who's volunteered at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo for the last 20 years, takes off weeks of time throughout the year to help plan it. He made sure to retire just before the rodeo busy season kicked off. It kept him engaged, helped him break away from his work community, and when the rodeo season was finally done, he was worn out. He needed a few weeks of rest, but at that point, he had fully disengaged from work, right? Think about what you love to do. If you have a boat and want to get out on the water, well, then January is probably not the best time to call it quits. If you're planning on spending time with your grandkids, September Probably not going to be optimal. They just went back to school, right? These are little things that we have to think about. So this begs the question, what do you want to get out of retirement? Most people would come to me and simply say, to not die without any money or to die with plenty of money. That's great. Yes, we want you to have enough money in retirement to survive. But mere survival gets pretty bleak after, 20 years of retirement. So think through who you'll spend time with and where you'll serve during your golden years, right? I had a couple about to retire 2 years ago. I asked them if they were looking forward to peace and quiet or if they were planning on, staying active. The wife said she was on the board of 2 local charities. She had a number of trips planned with her sister, and she was hoping to remodel the entire house. So, yeah, she was going to be pretty active. The husband looked over at me and he said he was going to be active too, gardening and watching football. So, knowing what lifestyle you want can help guide you when you should retire. Now, another personal reason might be if you have a work milestone that you want to hit. This is very common with people with pensions. They need to hit that, rule of 80, rule of 90, or be at a place for 25 years. It could also be important for those type A people who want to, reach a title or complete a huge transition. One client of mine helped build the Tesla Gigafactory here in Austin. It was one of the hardest things he ever did. It wore him completely thin, but he wanted to complete the task and be able to say that he was one of the leaders on that big construction project. So these are valid reasons to delay retirement. Now, let's go to the third reason, which is healthcare. I mentioned it earlier in the video here, but many people need to wait until they're 65 to retire so they don't have to get private insurance. One thing with that is that you may need some medical care that work insurance might cover better than private insurance would. Also, if you quit work and can keep your taxable income really low, you may qualify for marketplace incentives for health insurance. Now, those incentives are based on your income, so it may make sense to retire earlier in the year, manage your taxes in that year in order to qualify the next year to get a lower health insurance cost, and therefore maybe be able to do some more procedures. So if you have health issues, weigh your insurance options before you quit. Medicare might not always cover everything that you need, and your company insurance actually might be better. Now, you can always get on Cobra and continue your health insurance for 18 months after you retire. The only thing there is that your insurance will cost more, right? So the next reason to think about which month is important is your company bonus. When does it pay? So you don't want to miss out on a windfall because you left early, right? This may be, a cash bonus or company stock vesting. Most equity compensation vests on a quarterly basis. You wouldn't want to leave a company right before that vesting cliff. You'd lose all that money. So check with your HR when those stock options vest or when they hand out those bonus checks. And finally, one minor optimization is your vacation time, comp time, and other PTO. Many companies don't reimburse for any of that sick time or paid time off when you retire. It may be worth sticking around and milking those hours instead of just losing them. I mean, you earned them, right? So I hope this video was helpful. To sum it all up, be thoughtful about when you step into the next phase of life. There are optimizations out there that can save time, money, and a lot of headache. So if you liked the video, please subscribe. Would love it. Check out some of my other videos, and I hope you have a great day.